available for others to access. In the future, if you are not able to make it today, then you'll be able to come back and see this. We're excited to have everyone. Appreciate this opportunity to share with you this exciting, potentially once in a lifetime opportunity. I think I mentioned after this presentation today, the recording will be made available on the Freshwater Collaborative website until the application deadline has passed, and we'll go into that later. Some virtual housekeeping. All microphones should be muted and cameras turned off, except for the people that are doing the actual presenting. Please know that you can type questions into the chat at any time, and depending on the nature of your question, our moderator, Natalie, will answer them throughout the presentation, or else we will save them and answer them at the end. Without further ado, some of the objectives of today's webinar is to help develop an understanding of what this professional opportunity entails, who our project team is comprised of, what the benefits to you are as an individual, why this work is important, and then also how to apply and what the hiring process looks like. At the end, again, we'll have time to answer any questions that you have, but please don't wait until the end. Go ahead and type them in as you think of them. And we may answer them throughout the presentation, and if so, then we won't come back to them. Some of the things that we'll mention throughout this is that the application deadline is November 26th. The working period is December of 23 to August of 2024. We're looking for folks that are able to work as up from 8 hours to 40 hours per week. And it is a paid position ranging $20 to $30 per hour, depending on experience. So first, let's share a little bit about our project team. So Jacobs is an international consulting firm that provides a full spectrum of professional services, including consulting, technical, scientific, and project delivery for the government and private sector. We have over 400 offices in more than 40 countries with a talent force of more than 60,000 people with an annual revenue of about $14 billion. In 2023, our firm was ranked #1 by Engineering News Record for the top 500 in design firms and below that, you'll see specific water categories. And then #2, top professional services firm, as well as the other specific water sector categories that you see here. We pride ourselves on solving the world's most critical problems for thriving cities, resilient environments, mission critical outcomes, operational advancement, scientific discovery, and cutting-edge manufacturing. At Jacobs, we strive to make the world smarter, more connected, and more sustainable. We have staff supporting this project locally in our Milwaukee, Chicago, and Minneapolis-St. Paul offices. We have folks nationally in New Jersey, New York, Washington, D.C., Ohio, Tennessee, Colorado, and the state of Oregon, as well as Canada. The various staff that we have on this project have degrees and experience in engineering, such as civil, environmental, chemical, water resources, including water quality, digital technology, including geographic information systems, artificial intelligence, programming, and database management, and then also state and federal government policy. We have a great team of project partners that we identified this unique opportunity to partner with the University of Wisconsin system and the Freshwater Collaborative of Wisconsin to supplement our local staff and provide practical, hands-on, real-world experience to you all in the water industry. There are 13 public universities in Wisconsin sprinkled across the state, as you see here, with our primary university contact being Greg Kleinheinz at the University of Wisconsin, Oshkosh, supported by Carmen Ebert, as well as Marissa Jablonski and Heidi Jeter from the Freshwater Collaborative of Wisconsin. And I will go ahead and turn this over to Marissa.
Thanks, Kathy. So the Freshwater Collaborative is an is an initiative started at UW Systems, the University of Wisconsin system, which is now UW Universities. And it's a partnership of all 13 public universities in the state of Wisconsin. So we do three major things. We create knowledge, we train students and connect them to networks that lead to jobs, and we improve the well-being of natural ecosystems and all people. So how do we do that? We do that by collaborating, by funding and supporting collaborative research across many disciplines. So just like these positions will require multiple disciplines, we also support that work. So water in natural and applied sciences, engineering, economics, social sciences, arts, humanities, policy, and more. We also train these students in hands-on courses that are offered across the state. So if you're a student at UW Oshkosh, you can take courses across at UW Eau Claire and exchange. And those, I just picked 2 universities. They really, all 13 count. We also are working on future trainings and certificate programs, and we work on connecting people, students, to workplace experiences such as this. And lastly, we apply this research and training. We engage and serve communities to solve these freshwater challenges, such as the challenges that these jobs solve. And so how do you connect with us? You can visit our website, freshwater.wisconsin.edu. You can sign up for our quarterly digital newsletter, or you can follow us on social media. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or to our marketing manager, Heidi Jeter. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. All right, so what are the benefits to you as an individual, whether you are student, staff, or faculty members at one of the universities statewide? Well, first, you have an opportunity to gain practical, hands-on, real-world experience in the water industry. This opportunity will provide an excellent skill set and resume builder, as well as a way to expand your professional network. Partnering with the Freshwater Collaborative of Wisconsin and Jacobs Professionals will build your network for continued career development and post-graduation success. Second, you'll get to work on a project delivery team with professional experience ranging from over 25 years to less than 1 year in many different engineering, science, and technology fields. This is valuable opportunity for you to talk with professionals in the industry about their career path, your career goals, and ask questions. You'll get to work on the front line of our local government and public utilities. These are the folks that are working relentlessly to make sure that you have safe drinking water available to you at all times. You'll get to meet with water system operators across the state and have an opportunity to learn firsthand about utility operations and how our water system networks are built, and support them in supplying safe drinking water to their customers. Identifying the location of lead service lines within a water system is one step towards reducing lead in drinking water and protecting public health. Last, all aspects of our environment, including groundwater, surface water bodies, soil, air, have state and federal laws that protect them and human health and safety. You'll gain a better understanding of state and federal drinking water regulations and compliance requirements. And as if those reasons aren't enough, the scheduling flexibility, work location, and hourly wages of this opportunity are exceptional. We can provide flexibility in scheduling based on course load, class schedule, and mobility, whether you can work some half days, full days, weekends. We can accommodate a variety of scheduling constraints. There may be breaks such as winter break, spring break, or summer that you may have more availability than when school's in session, and we can work with that. Project work for students, staff, and faculty will begin in December and continue through August of 2024. Our project team has already started the early stages of the work. We are looking for a minimum of 8 hours a week. That is desired. We can provide up to 24 hours per week during the school year and up to 40 hours per week during school breaks, such as the winter, spring, and summer breaks. There are a variety of roles and activities that we need help filling, which we will discuss later in these slides. When you submit your application materials, there may be certain roles that are more exciting to you than others, and we will do our best to match you up with those roles based on your availability and your interest. These roles, there are equal opportunities for remote work as well as on-site field work. Data entry work offers more flexibility around working hours and can be performed remotely. Site visits may require longer work days that are greater than 8 hours. There could be potentially overnight stays. You would need access to a laptop to be for the remote work and a personal vehicle for traveling to on-site field work. The pay range is $20 to $30 an hour, depending on skills and prior experience. All your travel expenses will be reimbursed. Some of the skills that we're looking for qualified individuals, University of Wisconsin students and staff, pursuing it or obtained a degree in freshwater science, engineering, geology, microbiology, environmental science, or similar degree program. Strong interest in obtaining real-world hands-on utility and water sector work. An ability to focus on detail-oriented tasks, excellent communication skills, proficiency in Microsoft Office applications, and then, as I mentioned, a personal vehicle and valid driver's license with car insurance for the field visits. And with that, I will turn it over to Lauren.
Excellent. Thanks, Kathy. And thank you all for joining the webinar today. So I'm Lauren Wasserstrom. I serve as Jacob's National Practice Lead for Lead and Copper. And my work involves collaborating with states and water systems across the country, creating inventories and implementing compliance programs to reduce lead and copper in drinking water. So I do have control here. There we go. So as part of this effort, my role is a technical lead where I'm helping support all aspects of this project. That's providing assistance to water systems across Wisconsin to develop their lead service line inventories. And this project, as Kathy noted, is an incredible opportunity to help communities and water systems across the state to reduce lead in drinking water. And over the next couple slides here, I'm just going to provide some brief background details about lead in water and the main driver behind this project. And then from there, we'll get into the specific details about the project and how we hope you'll come into play. So Kathy, I might need some help. It is not letting me advance. All right. I don't know if that was you or me, but we'll see how this goes. It's always a successful meeting when you have some level of technical difficulties. So hopefully that's the worst of it here. So some of you might already be aware of this, but lead, it can enter water from corrosion or the wearing away of plumbing materials and fixtures containing lead, including water service lines. The figure that's shown here on the slide shows the common sources of lead in drinking water. And lead is in water, it's a great concern because lead exposure can affect every major system of the human body. Children and infants are the most vulnerable, where even at low levels, lead exposure is harmful. There's been a lot of attention lately on lead in drinking water, and that was because of the tragic events that you might have heard of in Flint. And there's also new regulatory changes that we'll get into just a little bit to provide some foundational information. So in general, the United States Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, it's the federal agency responsible for protecting public health and the environment. The EPA, they set regulations that are then implemented at the state level. And in the context of this project, that's the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. The EPA has established several water laws that are shown on the slide in the timeline graphic, and that includes the Safe Drinking Water Act that was established in 1974. It sets national health-based standards for drinking water, and that includes lead in drinking water. So on this slide here is a timeline of the lead and copper rule that was established again by the EPA in 1991 to minimize lead and copper in drinking water. And again, that's enforced at the state level. This rule was recently revised to better protect children and communities from the risk of lead exposure, referred to as the lead and copper rule revisions. This is the first time that major changes have been made to the rule since it was first established over 30 years ago. And on top of that, the EPA is also in the process of developing another federal rule called the Lead and Copper Rule Improvements. So there are more changes to come on the horizon. And within the lead and copper rule revisions, there's several key aspects and changes that have been made, which are illustrated here on the slide. This includes specifically what's highlighted here in the center, lead service line inventory, which is a requirement for all public water systems to prepare and maintain an inventory of their water service line materials. And these inventories, the initial inventories, they're due October 16th of 2024. The inventory is really the foundation for all other aspects of the rule, and also our focus of the discussion here today in the project with DNR. So with that, I'm going to pass things over to Tuba, and she'll get into the project details.
Hi everyone, my name is Tuba Akgun. I serve as a Northeast Practice Leader for Lead and Copper Rule Compliance at Jacobs. My role in the project is to provide support with inventory activities. We'll focus on offering technical support in the next few slides. We briefly mentioned that a service line can be a source of lead, but what does that mean? A water service line is the pipe that connects the city's water main to a home or business and brings water into the building. The service line may be owned by the water system, the property owner, or both. The diagram on the screen shows an example of joint ownership between the homeowner and water system, which is the most common scenario. If the service line is lead pipe, or if lead is present in the plumbing inside the house, the lead can dissolve into the drinking water. Next. So we'll start things off here with the project background with a fun fact of the day. Wisconsin has over 11,500 public water systems, more than any other state in the country. And there are a few types of public water systems in Wisconsin. One of these is community water systems. So what are they? These are public water systems that serve people in their homes where they live. They may also serve businesses, but the majority of the population being served by the water system is residential. The purpose of this project is to help 435 previously selected community water systems identify where they may be lead in the service lines and prepare an inventory. So these sources of lead, such as pipes, can eventually be replaced with a material that doesn't allow lead to dissolve into the drinking water. The map on the right shows where the 435 selected water systems are located and their distribution across the state. On the map, larger dots represent areas with a higher population served by the water systems, while smaller dots correspond to areas with a smaller population. It is required under the federal lead and copper rule revisions that all water service lines are inventoried, whether they contain lead or not, and reported to the US EPA in October 2024. In order to meet this deadline, our target project completion date is August 2024. To give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room, we are targeting completion in August 2024. Next slide, please. We're going to delve into the specific project tasks. The project has 4 main activities defined for completion. Outreach to the 435 water systems is currently underway by our project team. Opportunity for students to participate in 3 activities shown on slide with stars. And we'll delve into the three activities in the following slides. As we just mentioned, we have three major activities to accomplish the completion of service line inventories prior to our deadline in August 2024. After we have completed the water system outreach effort, these tasks, on-site visits and data collection tasks, will begin in December 2023 and is anticipated to run through April 2024. This activity is the only one that requires in-person attendance and travel for on-site visits. The next activity is service line inventory data entry phase. Using the collected data from the previous on-site visits to develop service line inventories for each of the 435 water systems. This task is anticipated to begin in January 2024 and run through July 2024. And the final activity, preparation of the service line inventory improvement plans, is anticipated to start in the latter part in the project, beginning in May 2024 and running through August 2024. These two activities are designed to be remote and don't require traveling, but they will require access to a computer. And as you can see, the schedule has some overlap in timeframes with three different activities. Based on your skill set, interest, availability, and schedule preferences, some or all of these tasks may be options for you. We will share more details on the following slides about what each activity will consist of. On-site visits, data collection. So on-site visits requires traveling from your location to a selected water system to have face-to-face interaction with the respective water system staff to review available historical records and gain comprehensive insight into the records. This activity does require the use of a personal vehicle to travel to the various water system offices. There is also a potential for overnight stays if you're able and interested, to allow broader state coverage and efficiency in data collection. If overnight stays are not an option for you for one reason or another, we would take that into account when scheduling the on-site visits. You will be reimbursed for mileage on your personal vehicle at the federal rate of 65.5 cents per mile, as well as the cost for lodging and meals while traveling. While on-site, you would collect institutional knowledge about that water system by interviewing the water system staff with the purpose of understanding their operational nuances and system-specific information. This interview is an opportunity to glean knowledge that the water system may know but isn't written down anywhere as a record. You would also review whatever historical documents the water system has to use in developing the inventory. During the digital documentation task of the activity, the use of the tablets, which will be provided to you, for filling out digital record forms will make data entry more efficient, and it may reduce the amount of time spent on site. For each activity within this project, comprehensive training will be provided before any site visits are scheduled. This training will include detailed step-by-step instructions for carrying out the site visit, along with a checklist to ensure all steps of the activity are completed. And the next activity is data entry. This will involve data review to examine the collected data from on-site visit for initial accuracy and completeness. A digital inventory template will be completed to account for each service line for each water system. As always, the training sessions will be available to provide all team members with the necessary knowledge to complete the data entry task effectively. Step-by-step instructions will guide through each process to maintain consistency in the workflow. The checklist will serve as a reference to ensure all steps are followed and activity is fully completed. And the third activity, after collection and entry of on-site visit data, is inventory improvement plans. Each water system will have a document plan in how they improve their inventories through day-to-day and routine operations. If they still have unknown material service lines after our site visit, we want to make sure that we recommend them a strategy to determine the materials of the remaining service lines. And as similar to the previous two activities, training will be available to provide all team members with the necessary knowledge to complete inventory improvement plans efficiently. And step-by-step instructions and a checklist will be given to serve as a reference to ensure all steps are followed and activities fully completed. And now we'll move on to the application process and hiring.
Great, thank you. So I'm Greg Kleinheinz. I am currently the chair for the Department of Engineering Technology, and the director for the Environmental Research and Innovation Center at UW Oshkosh. So we're happy to be a partner with Jacobs and the Freshwater Collaborative in this. And I guess maybe one of the reasons that we are is we do hire a lot of students to do water work we've hired from all the UW campuses. We also hire from a number of other campuses around Wisconsin. And so we have extensive experience, I guess, if you will, with this. So our role really to begin with will be to collect information from all of you. So my email's on the screen. It's kind of hard to read in that fancy font, but KLEINHEI and then the @ symbol UWOSH. We're hoping that you can submit a resume, cover letter, and a contact for a reference. And some of you may have already applied. We've received a number of applications. If you did not include all of that information in your initial application, no worries. Feel free to just send that back to us, and I'll kind of put it together. We'll acknowledge the receipt of your application, so you know it's not just disappearing in cyberspace. And then we'll schedule a call just to talk through things, because I think it's important to note that while Jacobs is sort of the overall leader of this program, all the participants, the student participants, are actually going to be hired as UW employees. So as such, we're a state agency, and so we have to follow all the rules and this, that, and the other thing. And so just want to make sure we explain all of that to you as we go forward. If we don't scare you off, we'll be forwarding on names and resumes, etc., to Jacobs, who will then follow up with a sort of final, if you will, interview with a lot of, maybe additional details on daily duties, depending on your particular interests and background. They'll then notify you, and then we'll work out a start date with you and give you training on mileage reimbursement, travel, payroll information, and all of that. The technical training will be provided by the Jacobs team, and will be sort of a resource just if you have any questions or need any help sort of along the way as support, I guess. So yeah, I guess next slide. There we go. I'm not sure if I did that or not. So here's the names of the contacts. Again, Kathy sort of kicked us off, myself, and then Carmen Ebert, who's also on the call, the associate director here at the lab. All of us can be a resource for you. And then, of course, you all heard from Marissa Jablonski, the executive director of the Freshwater Collaborative. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Kathy or whoever for Q&A.
All right, thank you. Well, I think we are ready. Natalie, if you want to go ahead and kick off our question and answer.
Yes, hello everyone. I think that I've been keeping up with questions in the chat. I know there's a couple of new ones that just rolled in. Let's see, let's cover some of the ones that are rolling in now, and then if we have time, we can recap. So Laura asked, would recent graduates of spring and fall be eligible to apply? Greg, could you provide some insight into that?
Yeah, to be hired as a student employee, you have to be enrolled in classes. It is possible. We can talk with Jacobs about it. There are some other ways we may be able to hire people. But if you want just student employment, you have to either be enrolled or enrolled in a future semester. But I think it would be worth at this point submitting your resume and cover letter, and we can talk about the details for each individual application.
Thanks, Greg. Marissa asked, hi, thank you for the webinar. How many individuals will be hired to complete this project? Kathy, would you want to take this one? Or if Kathy's not out there, I can take a crack. We don't have a specific number in mind. It will depend on folks' availability. We do, however, have several opportunities for students, so this is not just one or two. There will be ample opportunities, and as mentioned, we'll try to slot you into different tasks that fit your area of interest.
All right, can you hear me now? Yeah, it looks
Yes.
like it.
Hi,
I
Kathy.
don't know what happened. So I realized that I also did not have in the slide deck previously, we're looking to fill 250 hours per week with students. So depending on availability of students, that could be 20 people at at 10 hours a week, or 25 people at 10 hours a week. So, or 10 people at 25 hours a week. So someplace between 10 and 25 people is what we think. And then also depending on availability, such as Natalie said, we have to match up timing with the on-site visits as to when they're available as well. So if, let's say, the water system's available on Tuesdays and only a handful of our folks are available on Tuesdays, then those would be the ones that we would be able to send out to the system. So it really does vary. We do have the ability to expedite the schedule. There are more water systems out there besides the 435 that are looking for help. But we've currently committed to 435. So if we're able to do this work faster, then there are more water systems that we can help. So I think that is from a staffing standpoint, we are looking for a substantial amount of people.
Thank you, Kathy. Next question, Brian asked, please let us know when this will be on the FWC website. Brian, I believe that this has been posted. Marissa can correct me if I'm wrong. And if it's not posted yet, I believe it will be posted very shortly.
I can take a crack. Oh, is Marissa there?
Yeah, I was just going to say that's correct, but Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, it's also been posted to Handshake at all the UW schools. So, and then I know that it was sent to Michigan Tech. Depending on the response, we're kind of giving this group the first crack, and then after that, if we still need more people, we'll expand our circle of influence, I guess.
I just put the link to the full job description in the chat, and then the recording, we'll have that up within probably the next day or two, so if you need to refer back.
Thank you. I believe these next couple of questions can be grouped together. So there are questions surrounding remote work. Well, maybe we'll take these one at a time. If you're doing remote work, would you be working in a team, or how is the assignment structure working? And then somewhat similar on the regarding travel, on scheduling of availability to travel on weekends, or is travel only during the work week, and particularly with questions of overnight. So Kathy, you want to take a crack?
You bet. So with the different types of community water systems that we have, some of them, the smaller ones, may only have office hours on a weekend or maybe a certain day of the week. So certainly weekend hours are an option. It'll depend on the water system. I would say that it's probably about a 50-50 split between the water systems that are only available during the week and then ones that potentially have weekend hours. So it would be a case by case basis. When we're scheduling these on-site visits with the water systems, we have to look at their availability first. And then based on their availability, then we would look at the staff that we have on this project, including yourselves, and what your availability is. As far as the remote work, all of the staff that are being hired, all the students, the faculty and staff that are being hired or part of a larger team from the folks that you're seeing today. So we will, assign the workload to certain people, depending on availability, location, maybe skill set, those sorts of things. And then you will have a mentor or somebody that you can work directly with to answer questions. So every activity that we've laid out has folks that are in charge of those delivery. And so it'd be one or more people associated with that specific task that you would be on a direct team with.
Thanks, Kathy. I just saw another one come in, and this also relates to one that was asked earlier on availability or no availability during certain months, and if that would preclude them from applying to the position. I could take this one on. Absolutely not. Certainly note any availability constraints or other commitments that you do have within your application, but please still apply, because as you saw in some of our slides, the schedule has activities that span from December through August. So we will be looking for student assistance through all of those months and can accommodate any other scheduled concerns. Laura asked, you mentioned UW staff could apply. Can you elaborate on the roles available for staff? Greg, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, that as you can imagine, there's like almost an infinite number of possibilities here. I would, yes. So the short answer is it is possible for staff, but it would depend on your particular situation, campus, and all that. So I guess I would suggest just reaching out to me, and we can talk about it and see what's possible.
Thank you, Greg. I'll wait for any other questions to roll in, and while we're waiting for that, I think it would be beneficial to recap some that have been asked earlier in the meeting for the benefit of also the recording. So scrolling back up to the top. Will this position provide us with an opportunity to use GIS? So Kathy, I don't know if you want to address, or maybe Tuba.
Well, I think the thing that I would add is that the map that Tuba had shown earlier was one of many pieces in an integrated geographic system. We do use that in generating, perhaps how long it's going to take to get to a system, where they're located, which ones that we would do from a routing aspect. We do have a digital team that has created the platforms that all of our data is being stored on. So I would not say that from a programming standpoint or and incorporating or manipulating a GIS, that's part of it, but we are using GIS in helping us be efficient in visiting these systems.
And in addition to that, Kathy, not only GIS, I think you said this, but all of the other digital tools that we do have, you will be interacting with those tools and using them. And so you certainly will get a lot of exposure to GIS, but also a suite of other things, including databases and data management practices. One of the other questions from earlier is, this project has a specific focus on lead in drinking water. Is there also a focus on any other contaminants? Lauren, would you, if you're still on, would you like to take that question?
Absolutely. Always takes a moment sometimes to find the unmute. So this particular project is focused around lead service line inventories. So at this time, that is the opportunity, but also the great part of this experience is opening up doors and expanding your network. So hopefully there'll be other opportunities for us to collaborate, beyond this project.
Thanks, Lauren. All right, one other one I saw come in on the question of if you are out visiting a field, would that be completed as a team or as individuals? Kathy, would you want to take that one?
Yeah, so we are planning on having a minimum of 2 people on site for all of our field visits. And what the intent would be is that somebody from our Jacobs team would be one of the folks on site, and then a person from the university school system. So that way you have somebody that has the direct connections to Jacobs and the IT, and the historical knowledge and the professional knowledge of what needs to be done on site. But there aren't enough of us to necessarily go across the whole state. So our intent at this point in time is to divide up the Jacobs folks with university folks. That being said, after some of the university folks have enough experience in this and are very comfortable, and things are working seamlessly, there is the potential for 2 university folks to go out on site together, that have the appropriate experience needed, but we do not plan on having less than 2 people on site at all times.
All right, the next question that came in is from Mark, which is, what is the maximum expected travel distance for fieldwork? Kathy, I think maybe you want to keep rolling on the question and answer.
Yes, and so that is not a question that is easy to answer at this point in time. In the map that was shown earlier, you can see that the systems are sprinkled across the whole state. So if we didn't have any, say, students that were up in the northeast corner of Wisconsin and we have water systems up there, somebody would need to travel to them. We're going to try to keep the travel distance a minimum. So whether it's the Green Bay area could go up there, or from central Wisconsin would go up to northeastern Wisconsin, we will try to keep the trips to a minimum, because it's important for you to have as much time on site as possible with the water systems. The overnight travel may be if there's 2 systems in the northeast part of Wisconsin that you can't get all the work done in one day. There may be, work at one system the first day, stay the night, then work at the second system on the second day. We do not anticipate having, especially during the school year, having students go out for extended periods at a time. And then also know that, we all, we're in your shoes at one point in time too, and know what it's like to travel to places that you haven't been. And so we want to be as accommodating as possible, and don't expect, anybody to be gone for a full week at a time. So we will try to spread the travel out amongst all of our applicants, diversify the overnight stays. And then, some folks, the of reality is that they cannot stay overnight, and that's fine too.
Thank you, Kathy. All right, I think that we're caught up on questions. Certainly, we still have several minutes here if there are any other questions that come to mind. If you want to put those in the chat now. And otherwise, I don't know who's closing us out.
I can go ahead and
Okay.
do that. So just wanted to again say thank you for tuning in today. The Freshwater Collaborative website will have the recording of this presentation. Give it some thought. Know that while our application deadline is November 26th, you do not need to wait until that point in time to submit your application. We are reviewing and hiring staff on a rolling basis. And so certainly get your applications in early. There on one of the slides, it presented the Career Services Office. If you're unsure how to prepare a resume or a cover letter, I would encourage you to seek out help with those areas, and otherwise look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.